all. Sorry I am not with you today, but I still want to make sure you knew all the things about resume, cover letter, and just some professional etiquette tips so you get an awesome internship. So first off, you do have to get your resume and cover letter signed off by the Career Center as one of your assignments. I believe it's like assignment number 3 or something, or it's due the first week of the semester. I know that. So it's in your best interest to get this done now before you've even registered for the class. You should come to drive-through in the Career Center, or you can come to my drop-in hours in College Park and bring a printed out copy of your resume and your cover letter and have us review them, get it stamped and signed, and then just scan those 2 documents and you are ready to go for when your internship hits. Because better to do that now so that you're applying with the best resume possible, right? So even though it's not due until the semester, get it looked at now, make the changes, and then apply with that resume, and you're more likely to get an internship faster, right? If you need help on what our drive-through hours are, what my drop-in hours are, those are on the Career Center website. It's fullerton.edu/career. So go check that out there. Okay. Next, let's talk, I'm checking my notes. Let's talk about resumes. So before you bring it in, fix these things, because if you get these next tips fixed and out of the way, you can come in with a really strong resume, and then we can tailor and review and talk about things that are very specific to you instead of the basics. So first thing, your resume has to be 1 page. It should not be over 1 page. Having a resume over 1 page to a recruiter looking at internships feels a little bit, what's the word? Kind of like they kind of see it as kind of conceited. Like there are people who have been in the industry for 10 years who still have 1-page resumes. Now, I know a lot of you have multiple student org leadership experiences, multiple jobs that you've had. Maybe you've had a past internship. That can go well beyond a page. Keep that as a master resume on your website, on your computer. And then when you go to apply for something, copy paste the whole thing in a new document and delete whatever is not relevant to the job. So if you've had 3 server jobs, just keep the most recent one and the student organization experiences, right? So whatever is most relevant to the job is what you put on your resume. It's not your full work history. It's what matters to that company. So that's why it'll change every time. Some other tips to help you stay at 1 page. Use your margins. It is not an APA style paper. You can go beyond 1-inch margins. I say push out to 1/2-inch margins all the way around. And then make sure your bullet points are flush under your company name, title, bullet point. Don't indent. Some of you indent like 1/3 of a page for your bullets. Well, no wonder it's hard to fit it all on 1 page, right? If we've taken out all this space. So just put everything right in line on the left-hand side, just straight down. That will get you a lot of space back. Then for font size, 11 is really as low as we go. People have bad eyesight as they get older, and if they can't read it, they're not going to get out a magnifying glass. They're not going to increase the size on their computer. They're just going to delete and move on. So you want to make sure they can read your resume. So 11 is as low as we go on font size. Now, I recommend education, experience, skills, make those a 12, but everything else, if we need to save room, make them an 11. Then let's see what else I have. Okay, so then you have to use bullet points. Please no paragraphs on your resume. Your resume is going to be looked at for 6 to 10 seconds. I had a recruiter hear that stat, that it was 6 seconds. That came out a couple years ago, that recruiters look for 6 seconds. And she went, oh, that can't be true. I totally look longer. So she timed herself. She looked for 3 seconds. Okay, so they are going to glance over your resume, which means they need to catch on to your good skills and qualifications fast. So if you have paragraphs and you have this awesome thing you've done, but it's in the middle of all these lines, I'm not seeing it. The recruiter's not seeing it. But if you have bullet points, it's going to be much stronger. And then this next thing is the thing you all are going to want to write down. Just Get your pen out now. You need to use a bullet point formula. So it needs to be action verb plus the task plus how or why. That is a strong bullet point. If you just say helps customers, that doesn't tell me anything. Why am I bringing you in off that, right? I'm not going, if I was a recruiter looking at that, I'd be like, oh, skip this person. I don't know what this means. So you need to use a strong action verb. We have a whole page of them in our career guide in the Career Center. It's also on our website. So you can go on there and look at that page, like literally hundreds of action verbs. So start with a strong action verb, and then you want to give the task plus how or why you did it. Okay, so let's say you are a server at Chili's. You are going to say, communicate with customers all promotions and specials. That's fine. That's an action verb plus a task. You gave me a little bit of description of the task, which is good, but that's an action verb and a task. But tell me why. Is it to assist team in hitting restaurant sales goals? Is it to provide excellent customer service? There are multiple reasons why you could do something, and adding that why is going to really show the employer what you've done before that can translate to what you can do for them. The how comes up very naturally. Don't force a how. How would be used if you said like planned all social media content for student organization. How? Utilizing Hootsuite to plan a month at a time. That's a how, okay? So hopefully that helps a little bit. Then if you want to take a bullet point to awesome, you can add a result. So did you increase your followers on social media or for the student organization? Did you hit 6 months of sales goals in a row? Something like that. But if you don't have that, that's okay. The other thing you want to think about is adding numbers. If there is anywhere you can quantify on your resume, that is awesome. This is going to help paint a picture of what you've done. So some places where I've seen students miss this before is training employees and anything with social media. So a lot of you have had great loyalty to your companies that you work at, and you have been there a while, and now it is your job to train new employees. And often I see bullet points that just say, trained new employees. How many? Did you train 3 new employees? Do you train 12 new employees at a monthly orientation or onboarding? Like, give me that number, because whether it's 3 or 300, it's still going to help me get a better understanding of what you've done. And that's only going to help the recruiter, hiring manager, whoever's reading that resume, make a decision on if they should bring you in or not. And with numbers, once again, it's not an APA style paper. So whether it's 3 or 300, you still write it as a numeric. So even if it's under 10, we write it numerically. Okay, so a couple last things on resume. You have to make sure it looks perfect. There are no spelling errors, grammar errors. You don't have rogue periods at the end of certain bullet points and not at others. Your resume needs to be consistent. So if education is bold, then experience is bold, then skills is bold. Because those are bold, you probably shouldn't make your school name and your company names bold. Maybe we make them all caps. And then maybe we make the degree and your titles all caps and bold. So each of those things stands out from the other, and then stay consistent. If one title is all caps and bold, every title is all caps and bold. So you have to stay consistent on that part. But no spelling errors, no grammar errors. I like to remind everyone, Grammarly is amazing, and I think you all need to be using it, but customer is a noun and costumer is a noun. They're just 2 letters switched. Grammarly might not pick up on that, and you might end up sending a resume that talks about your awesome costumer service. So make sure you're on top of that. Then let's talk just some professional development things, some professional etiquette. When you are emailing with employers, you need to make sure that you are sounding what I call conversationally polite. So students tend to go one of 2 ways. They either sound super casual, too casual, or y'all are trying way too hard to sound super professional, and you end up talking in Old English because I get emails that sound like this. Dear Ms. Thompson, I was wondering, perchance, if you might take a look as such at my resume forthwith hereto at your liking. Like, what did you just say? That didn't make sense. So don't worry about sounding super fancy. I want you to do what I call being conversationally polite, which means, can you read your email out loud and it sounds like you were just talking to the person, but you were polite about it? Because we could write an email that sounds like we were talking to them, but it sounds really demanding. So just make sure you're adding in the pleases, thank yous, softening it a little bit. But as long as it sounds like you were talking to an actual human being, you are fine. Then for the interview, let's talk about the way you should dress. You want to be what we call business casual. I would not wear jeans, even if it is a company that is super casual and once you get the internship, you can totally wear jeans. For the interview, I would stay to black, khaki, navy, gray pants, something in that realm. For guys, a button-down shirt and a tie, or maybe just a button-down shirt, depending on the environment. For women, I think pants are still best. If you're gonna wear a skirt or a dress, make sure it's not too tight, too short, that your top is not too low cut. These are things we all have to think about. So keep all that in mind. And then for guys, the thing you all do, please remember, if you can see the wrinkles in your shirt, we can see the wrinkles in your shirt. So make sure it's ironed ahead of time. This is feedback we get from career fairs all the time. So that's why I'm bringing these things up. But you want to dress appropriate to the culture and just a little bit nicer. Then once you have the job, dress completely to the company culture. So if it is a jeans and t-shirt culture, dress in a jeans and t-shirt. But dress in a nice jeans and t-shirt. There's a difference between like your ripped jeans that look kind of dirty and your t-shirt that clearly you grabbed from like a pile on the floor, and your nice jeans that aren't wrinkled, your nice shirt that's clean and office appropriate. Like there's a difference, right? So just make sure you're dressing to the culture. I suggest finding like someone in the company who's respected and you like their style and just emulate that. That's going to help you out. Then, last thing, when you interview, you have to send a thank you. Please make sure you send a thank you email within 24 hours. For everything else in life, I like a physical thank you note, but for this, we want it to get to them fast. And so you want to send a thank you over email. Now, it seems like everyone's going to do this. They're not. The stat has always been only 1 in 4 sends the note, and I can attest that this is true from the interviews I've done, and only 1 in 4 sends it. So this means if you were the one who sends the note, you have a far greater chance of getting the position. So just do not consider your interview over until you have sent that note, that email, that thank you email. So make sure you send it. We have samples of how to do that on our website and in our career guide, so you can check those out there. But there could be somebody who gave excellent answers and seems highly skilled for the position, and somebody else who didn't have as much past experience but showed a lot of passion in their interview. And if the person who's highly skilled didn't send the note or didn't send an email, and the person who had passion sent the email, the person with passion but less skill is going to get the job. They can train the skill. They want somebody who's grateful and excited to be there working for them. So the person who sends the email gets the job. Just keep that in mind. So that is it. I hope this was helpful. If you all have questions, feel free to email me or stop by my drop-in hours in College Park, and I will hopefully see you soon. And sorry again, I couldn't be with you today. Bye.